Did you think Solana would be the king of this cycle? Well, that's what a lot of people thought. But what if everyone is wrong? Over the last year or so, Solana slowly worked its way to becoming the fastest growing project in crypto. The ecosystem was booming. Sol was climbing. There was even a strong meme season last year driven by the Solana network. We did see a retracement in Sol's price along with the rest of the market since then, but things have been climbing back up this year. And Solana was back on track to fulfilling its goal of becoming the Ethereum Killer. Some may even argue it's already surpassed the Ethereum ecosystem in many ways. But then the big crash happened 2 weeks ago, and Solana felt some of this pain. The crypto flash crash that wiped out billions of traders' funds also ended up dragging altcoins down with brutal force. And if we look at Solana's price chart, we saw this drop to a price range that most of us thought we'd never see again. All the progress that was made after the retracement at the start of 2025, that strong climb that looked like it would lead to a new record high, just to fall back down under $200 and struggle to climb back out of the hole. That crash was no joke, and other assets had it even worse. Just look at Sui dipping back into the 50-cent range before flying back up over $2, all within a few short hours. If you're watching this crash happen live like I was, then you know how unreal it felt. But if we're focusing on Solana alone, the question is, where is it going from here? Did we already see the peak during last year's meme season, or are we going to see Sol at $500 soon? Well, despite the setback from this crash, Solana's price chart still looks good. Unlike a lot of altcoins that went through extreme drops, Solana's chart is still on an uptrend. But that's just the price of Sol. While investors and traders are struggling to figure out where the price might go from here, something completely different is happening behind the scenes. All the fear and uncertainty in the market is on the investor side, especially those actively trading and watching their portfolios turn red. But if you look at the developer's perspective and the teams actually building on the network, things are moving forward as planned. In fact, significant progress is being made across the Solana ecosystem that's flying completely under the radar because of all the market noise. It's almost like the crash was a distraction to pull attention away from what's actually happening in crypto. With this in mind, does Solana have what it takes to become the leading ecosystem in crypto? Or have we already seen the best days of this project? Well, I've been spending a lot of time immersing myself in the Solana ecosystem and researching the ins and outs. And today I'm going to pick apart the Solana ecosystem piece by piece and give you the real state of Solana. No hype, no bias, just the facts. And full disclosure, I'm bullish on Solana, but even I was pretty surprised with what I found during my research. So this isn't something you want to skip over if you've got Solana on your radar. Now, before we start, one important thing to keep in mind about crypto is the level of risk. This is a risky space. If you're investing in any altcoins, you need to make sure you do your own research and understand what you're getting into. The flash crash is a great example of how fast things can change in crypto. That being said, if you can manage your risk and navigate the space carefully, then there can be a lot of good opportunities in the market. And BTCC is one platform I like to use to take advantage of price movements. No KYC or VPN required, and you get a 10% bonus on your first deposit if you sign up with my link down below. Now, if you're not sure about what trading strategies to use or how to find potential opportunities, then check out the FireHustle Discord. We've got a team analyzing the market and sharing their strategies, and an entire community of members taking part in high-level discussions. I personally learned a lot myself from this community. Link is in the description down below. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. And as always, none of what I share is financial advice. My content is for educational purposes only. So let's start with the numbers and the data, because this is where things become pretty clear. People are too hyper-focused on the price action and end up overlooking network performance. You might remember Solana's big run last year. The number of active users and daily transaction volume on Solana ended up surpassing Ethereum's numbers. 2024 was the year that Solana actually became a threat to the king of DeFi. And after a brief cooldown period, we're starting to see this happen again. But this time without it being mostly meme coin hype like before, which indicates more real and meaningful usage. Just recently, we saw 24-hour app revenue on Solana surpass both Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain combined. Let that sink in for a second. the combined revenue of two of the biggest ecosystems in crypto, and Solana is outpacing them. This is a direct indication of where the real building is happening, and more importantly, where users are actually going for on-chain products. Now, while we're on the topic of Solana versus Ethereum, we just saw Solana expand into the Ethereum ecosystem with the new Uniswap integration. This is actually pretty big news because users on each network can access assets from the other network. And this removes the annoying process of swaps and bridges to move between ecosystems. It's a good step forward if you consider cross-chain interoperability. But if you look closely at what's going on, this is a reflection of the demand for Solana's products. Here's the reality. A lot of people entered the crypto space through Solana this cycle. This was their gateway into crypto, and the reasons should be obvious. The Solana team made it very easy to use their network and platforms. Transactions are fast and cheap, which is a huge selling point for new users, especially if you compare this to Ethereum's native speed and gas fees. Yes, there are layer 2s that improve Ethereum's usability, but each layer 2 operates on its own with a separate version of ETH for gas. And moving between Ethereum and its layer 2s also requires bridging and a waiting period. This creates a bigger learning curve for users compared to just operating on a single network like Solana that's already fast and cheap. So now we have an entire generation of users that are Solana native. They don't really need Ethereum unless it's specifically to buy ETH native assets. Otherwise, all their activity can be done on Solana for a fraction of the cost and at lightning speed. But what about users on Ethereum? Well, anyone that's already native to Ethereum would absolutely benefit from the cost and speed advantages of Solana. Being able to access Solana's ecosystem through Uniswap lowers the barriers significantly. Overall, this is a really good look for Solana, and when one of the biggest dexes in crypto decides to integrate your chain, it's a big win. The demand is clearly there. Now, one of the biggest growth indicators for crypto is stablecoin supply. And as stablecoins are being issued, this reflects the amount of capital entering Web3. This is basically the on-chain money supply, and more stablecoin supply means more funds available to inject into cryptocurrencies and DeFi protocols. You probably know that the stablecoin market cap has been on the rise since 2023. Despite the pullbacks and many crashes in the market this year, this is one metric that didn't slow down, and it's only going to expand as the crypto space grows. As of now, most of the stablecoin market share belongs to the Ethereum network. And that makes sense given how long it's been around and how well connected the ecosystem is. In comparison, Solana hosts less than 10% of the stablecoin supply that's on Ethereum. But the rate of growth has been pretty significant on Solana. Now, here's something you might not realize. Most of the stablecoin market belongs to USDC and USDT. And while growth of these assets shows adoption and trust in crypto, these assets don't add any extra benefit for Solana. In fact, there's a disadvantage for this ecosystem. For example, in the case of USDC, Circle earns interest on their USDC reserve, and 50% of this revenue gets shared directly with Coinbase, with a significant portion getting recycled into the Base ecosystem. This was part of a partnership deal when Coinbase became a stakeholder in Circle a few years ago. But here's what this means. More USDC issuance across all chains, including Solana, means more interest earned through the USDC reserve for Circle, and more revenue kickback for the Base ecosystem. In other words, USDC issuance on Solana is funding its competitors. But there are some solutions in the works. Jupiter, the leading DEX aggregator on Solana, is launching its own native stablecoin, JupUSD. Usage of this stablecoin will provide direct benefits to the native Jupiter ecosystem. Now, if JupUSD gains significant adoption, every transaction, every swap, every DeFi interaction using that stablecoin is generating value that stays on Solana. Another example of this is Phantom launching the Cash stablecoin. The goal here is to let people easily purchase Cash coins, and this can be used to trade crypto and even pay for things through Apple Pay. And of course, easy transfers from person to person. Again, all native to the Solana network. So native stablecoins like JupUSD and Cash could be setting up Solana for long-term value capture. But there's another fundamental aspect of financial systems that crypto has largely overlooked, and it's finally getting the attention it deserves: privacy. It almost feels like everywhere we look in the crypto space, privacy is popping up. Part of this has to do with Zcash exploding over the last month. But overall, there is growing recognition for privacy concerns in crypto. Many people still don't realize how blockchain transparency is actually dangerous if you consider real-life transactions. Once your wallet gets linked to your identity, anyone can easily track your balance, your transactions, and who you're sending money to. And it's worse when you consider the government trying to embed people's IDs into DeFi protocols. But a lot of people are speaking up about this, especially in the Solana family. Mert, the CEO of Helios and one of the most vocal advocates for Solana, has been pushing the privacy agenda hard. He's not just talking about it's a nice to have feature, he's framing it as a necessity for crypto's future. And he's not alone. Solana's co-founder, Tolly himself, has also been vocal about his concerns around privacy. And this is slowly spreading to other ecosystems in crypto. This should be a sign that privacy isn't just a short-term trend. It's a critical piece of crypto that's largely missing right now. The reality is that Solana on its own isn't a private blockchain. Transactions can easily be traced and tracked on the Solana blockchain by anyone. But this is slowly changing. Multiple projects are actively building their own privacy layers on top of the Solana network. And the Cypherpunk hackathon on Solana was the perfect launching pad for these privacy-focused startups to secure funding and accelerate their development. With the crypto privacy concern gaining more attention, Solana is positioning itself to lead this movement. There are actually several protocols already live on Solana that are helping privatize on-chain activity. Now, the big challenge that comes with this is finding a balance. Full privacy isn't an option because it's a perfect setup for illegal and criminal activity. I think that a balanced solution would be a version of privacy that protects your personal data but can allow audits if necessary. Privacy is just one area where Solana is pushing boundaries. Remember AI agents on Solana? Yeah, let's be honest here. As much as it was a big topic, most of it was a disaster. A lot of fluff, a lot of hype, not much practical use. But there's a lot more to AI agents than we saw during that hype cycle last year. We're talking about automated programs that can take over day-to-day tasks and simplify routine processes. There's been a lot of development for AI systems and data centers in the real world, but crypto will end up being the best financial tool for AI to use. Imagine an AI agent trying to make purchases for a company. How much easier would it be to just send Solana in an instant and with low costs compared to charging the company credit card, which also comes with higher fees and longer wait times. This brings me to another growing area of crypto, payment tools. This was the ultimate goal, right? Actually using crypto as a form of payments in everyday life. This isn't easy to accomplish yet, but there are payment platforms and products being developed on Solana to make this a reality. But if Solana can crack the code on making crypto payments seamless, that's a game changer for mainstream adoption. So with all of this in mind, what's the real state of Solana? Well, the truth is, while everyone's distracted by price charts and short-term volatility, real innovation is happening across multiple sectors on Solana, and that's what matters for long-term success. And most people are completely missing it. Think about what's actually happening here. The Solana team just launched the Seeker phone, making it incredibly easy for anyone to transact on the network without needing to understand wallets or seed phrases. I personally have been testing out the Seeker phone myself, and honestly, if I had no knowledge of crypto or blockchains, I'd still be able to send transactions and interact with dApps easily. And this is progress for the crypto space as a whole. The gap between what's happening in the ecosystem and what's reflected in price action is massive right now. And that gap won't last forever. Markets eventually catch up to fundamentals. And when they do, Solana is going to be positioned well. So where does Sol go from here? Well, if this level of development continues, then I believe a $500 target isn't crazy. It might even be conservative. Solana is already outdoing its competition in several ways. And with this level of innovation and developer activity, this is an ecosystem that's capable of leading the space when it comes to real-world utility. Of course, what happens between now and then is also going to shape the project's future. Because of how unpredictable the crypto market could be, we might not see a higher trading range yet. But if the bull cycle continues as we all expect it to, following the money supply and even the price of gold, then a higher high is right around the corner. What do you guys think? Did Solana already have its big run last year? Or are we about to see this chart go parabolic soon? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. If you found this content valuable, then make sure you're subscribed and drop a like. And for more market alpha and high-level discussions, check out the FireHustle Discord group. Link is down below. As always, none of this is financial advice. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.